Hello there everyone, my name is Brother Birch. In this video I'm going to be going through the lesson 5 class activity. Now my goal for this lesson is to give you guys a brief overview of how to do pretty much everything we've done in this course to some extent, right? Our node endpoints for routes are going to be pretty light, but other than that we're going to create a GitHub repository, create a new MongoDB database, create a swagger.json file, design first, so not just generating it from other code. All sorts of stuff. We'll push it to GitHub, create a Heroku project, deploy it to Heroku. Okay, so quite a bit of stuff. My goal for this is because, or the purpose I'm doing this is because in lesson 5, you start a new project for this class. And so you're going to have to do all of this over, the next couple of days anyways. And so for this class activity, we're just going to kind of do a big old review and hopefully get you guys in the right spot so that you're ready to do this. So without any further ado, I just created this. Wait a second, that's not. There it is. Okay, cse341 lesson 5 class. You can call this whatever you want to, but if I hit refresh right here, there's no code in here. I just created this a little while ago. So we have the repository. Clone it on your computer and open it in VS Code. So I'm just going to copy this link. I just opened up a new window here in VS Code, and I'll go ahead and just paste that link and clone it. Let's see, I'll put it into my downloads folder. So yep, I'll just select that. I only put stuff in my downloads folder that I don't want to keep. So this is just for you guys, and once I'm done, it's going to go away. So okay. We've done that. Next up, run npm init to start a new node project. So I'm just going to open up the terminal here. Oops. I'll just say npm init. And pretty much everything I'll leave the same here except for the entry point. I'm just going to make server.js. And the rest I'll leave the same. So that's what our package.json looks like. I'll leave that the way it is. Okay, next up, we're going through these nice and quick. Create a simple server.js file like we've done previously. Speaking of how we've done it previously, I just opened up the lesson 4 personal solution, just this link down here from lesson 4. I'm going to grab a little bit of code from there tonight just because we've already written this code, okay? And so like I said, several things from this video tonight and from this class activity are going to be review. But I want to just, like I said, give you guys like a high level of everything that we're going to do to create this project. Okay, so we're going to have to run npm install on a couple things. I'm just looking at these dependencies up here. All three of these are going to throw errors when we run this. So I'm going to say npm i-save. We're going to need express body parser. I'm just going to leave that for now. Let's go ahead and grab the db connect file. So I'm going to open that up, and I'll copy everything in here. Head back over here, and I'm just going to make a new file, db/connect. We'll go ahead and put it into that db folder, and I'll paste everything in there. We're going to need .env and MongoDB. .env and MongoDB. Okay, if I go back to my server file, I'm also seeing we need this routes file set up. So let me go ahead and grab our routes as well. So I'm just going to go to routes. I'm going to start with this index.js. We're not going to need contacts. Copy that, head over here, and make a routes folder /index.js. And I'll go ahead and paste that. We're going to need express. Oh, we already have express. Never mind. Okay, I'm not going to have contacts, but let's go ahead and grab that Swagger file because we are going to make some Swagger documentation. So let's make a swagger.js file in the routes folder. Oh, whoops. Swagger.js, and I'll go ahead and just paste that. Swagger UI Express, that's a package we haven't included in this install command here. So we'll include that there. And then a swagger.json. we need a swagger.json. I'm going to go ahead and run this install. I think that's it that we need for the installs. Now, if we look at our instructions here, create a MongoDB account, an env file. So we'll do that. If we look at this, though, we need to create a swagger.json file for this single endpoint, right? Localhost 8080. It's a GET request that is going to take in a name parameter, a name query parameter, and then return the name in reversed order. Okay, so nice and simple, right? I just want to give you an idea for how to create this from scratch. So if I go to a website, the website called Swagger Hub, which I've shown in other videos, and I just hit create new, I'll hit create new API. If I click on pet store, which I usually do for a template for a new project, it starts you off with so many endpoints, like everything you could possibly think of. You know, you'll have like deletes and puts and posts and gets and stuff with API keys and query parameters and body stuff, like so many different scenarios, right? So really good place to start. In fact, I actually started there with this, and then I just stripped out a bunch of stuff, right? I took out the other dozen requests here, and I just left this user request. And so you can see the name to reverse, we type in a name, and it should return it reversed. Okay, it won't really work to test it out here, but I'm just trying to generate this JSON file, right? And so here we have this nice little GUI. I can delete a bunch of stuff. The return I set as a schema, the reversed response schema, and I just set that. And again, earlier, I didn't know how to do this earlier either. But there were a bunch of models here to start with, and I'm like, oh wow, I can say to reverse this or to send this back, and here are the properties that I want. And this is a pretty simple one, right? There were other bigger ones, and I just kind of looked at those and was like, oh yeah, here's what I need to do. Okay, let's see, I can delete this model. We don't need that. We don't need HTTPS. We're just doing localhost, so I'll take that off. I don't know what all these comments are here. I'm pretty sure I can just take all that out as well. Host. Host should be our local host. The port that we're listening to, which I think has been 8080. And then this I'll just leave as just a single slash for that base path. Okay, I'm going to take that comment out as well. Clear out that empty line. That all looks good. And wow, that's pretty much it. Okay, so I'm going to save this. And then I'll hit export, download API, JSON resolved, and should end up with this nice JSON file. So I'm going to open up VS Code. I'll also open up my Finder, and I'm going to grab that file I just downloaded. I'm just going to drag it over here. And I'm going to hit, what in the, weird. Swagger.json. Okay, wow, it put that back. That's weird. I wonder why it did that. Localhost 8080. Just a slash for that base path. Looks like all this is the same. Got that. Got my reversed response. So that all looks great. Okay, so we have that in place. Let's go ahead and run npm start. Beautiful. Starts with, can't read property starts with of undefined, and it's trying to get to this MongoDB connection string URL. Well, we didn't make our environment file. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and we also didn't make our database, right? If we go back to here, it says connect to or create a new database with your same account, create an env file, and connect to MongoDB in your project. We already have the code there for it. So I'm just going to bring over Compass here. And if I just trash this, I'll show you guys what it looks like to just make this thing. So I'm just going to hit create database. And I put that there. And I'll just say user for a collection name. We're not going to use this. I just want to use it to help us connect because you guys are going to use a database for your projects. Okay. So that's here, nothing in here. And to get that connection string, I'm actually just going to quit MongoDB Compass and reopen it. And so we get this screen. And if I click on this and I hit edit, I'm just going to copy this whole MongoDB connection string. Okay, so I paused the video for a sec. I created a .env file. I put mongodb underscore URI equals, and then I pasted that connection string that I was showing you guys in the last video. I'm not showing you the whole thing because it's got my password in it. So, but that's what that's going to look like. I'll go ahead and close this. And this is green, so is node modules. This is not good. So I'm just going to select create a new file, and I'm just going to say get ignore, and I'll just put a .env file in there and node modules in there, and then hopefully both of those will be grayed out because I don't want either one of those going to version control. Okay, let's try this again. It's taking its sweet time, isn't it? There we go, connected to DB and listening on port 8080. So we haven't set up any routes except for that Swagger one, right? So if we look at our routes, API docs, and that's being linked from here. That's the only thing in our routes file right now. So I'll come up here and I'll just say API docs. And here it is. So I can look at what this model is. I can look at this request. That looks really nice. Okay, I can try it out. And I'll say Nathan is the one that we want to reverse, and I'll hit execute. And failed to fetch. Possible reasons. It doesn't say this here, but it could also just say you don't have a route set up for it yet. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up a route for this. So in my routes file, I'm actually not going to make a controller for this because this is going to be a really simple function. So what I'm going to do is just set up a new route. I'll say router.get, and I'll say, hey, if we hit the URL, just user, then here's the function, right? Usually we'd have like controller.function. Okay, well in this case, I'm just going to throw a function in here. I'll say we have an anonymous function like that, and then we can tell it to do something. So I want my rec and res objects accessible to me. And then in here I'll say just res dot status 200 successful .json, and what I want to pass in here is a response. Actually, hang on. We're going to have another anonymous function here. So actually, we'll just say response equals, and then, so not an anonymous function, we're just making an object here, assigning it to response. And we'll just say reversed, and then give it a value. So I'll say rec.query.name. Okay, that should give us, let's see here, the name in a query string. Okay, so you can see what that looks like here. So rec.query.name dot split. So we'll separate every single letter in that. Dot reverse. Go ahead and reverse the order of that split array, and then join this array back with nothing between those items. Okay. And we'll go ahead and save that. And let's see if we have any errors here. What did we end up with? Oops, that's weird. So, oh, whoops. That should be right there, not right there. There we go. Okay. And then JSON, I can probably take that off as well. So response equals that. Yeah, I don't know why I had that in there. Okay, there we go. That looks good. So res.status200.json, and then response equals, and then we'll just send back this object with one key value pair, reversed, and the reversed string. Okay. All right, so we have that. So now I should be able to access that user URL. I'm not using nodemon though. Let me go ahead and just put nodemon in here since we're used to using it. I'm going to stop that, and I'll say npm I -- save dev. Pretty sure that's what it is. Nodemon. Let's see if this works. Should see a dev dependencies pop. Nice. Okay, sweet. And then up here, I'll say we'll give this a start script. And the command that we want to run is nodemon server.js. Okay. Now, if I do this, when I deploy to Heroku, it's going to break because nodemon isn't going to work there. So let me just go ahead and make that proc file right now. And so we'll just say web node server.js just to tell it what command we want to run on Heroku when we start. And we just want to run server.js with just regular node. Okay. So now I should be able to say npm start. Should be with nodemon. Good. So now if we make any changes, it'll just refresh for us. Okay, I'm going to hit refresh. And let's test this thing out. I'll hit try it out. I'm going to type in Nathan. Actually, let's do like Emily. Hit execute. And that did not work. So there's our URL. That looked good. There's what it's supposed to look like, and there's what it looked like. Okay, so let's just go ahead and step through this real quick. So I have my server file, which references the routes. So that looks good. I go into the index.js of the routes, and we have this /user. Let me just make sure that's what we did. That is what it did, yeah. Okay. And, you know, I'm just going to put a breakpoint on here. So I'll put a breakpoint right there. And then I'm just going to hit debug, create a launch.json file, node.js. That looks beautiful. I'll head back over here, and then I'll just hit launch program. Oh yeah, it's not going to work. We got to stop our other thing from running over here. There we go. Okay, let's try that again. Let's go ahead and run this. We can go back to our debug console and look at this. That's good. All right, localhost 8080. Let's just hit this API docs to start with. That's good. And we'll hit try it out. We'll put in Emily and execute. Would you look at that? Didn't even hit our breakpoint. Well, that narrows things down a bit. Okay. So where did we put our breakpoint? So if I go into here, index.js. Oh. We just put it inside of that user route. Huh. Interesting. I wonder. It's using HTTPS. We totally changed that. We are not using HTTPS. Yeah, it's funny that it didn't update that. We totally saved it. There we go. Let's see if that works. Got to refresh this because nodemon's not working with my debugger right now. So remember, HTTP for localhost. And HTTPS for Heroku. So when I want to push this up to Heroku, we can go ahead and change that back to HTTPS for when we push it. Oh, did it not stop? I think I stopped everything. Alright, let's try this again. That's weird that it's still running. I totally stopped it. Huh. Let me just search for debug here. So I got stop debug button. Restart, we tried. That is so weird that it's like still going. Weird. Well, I'll restart this in a bit. For now, I'll just put that there for a sec. Just so we can do this. Okay, let's run that. All right, come over here. Localhost 8081. That looks beautiful. API docs. Nice. And we'll go ahead and put Emily here. Hit execute. That looks better. Look at that. That's awesome. Okay, so our request is working. It looks great. We're getting our query parameter. Name is Emily. And just sending back the reversed string. So, okay, that's great. Let's look at our next steps here. Add the Swagger route to your node project routes. Test it locally. Check. Push to GitHub. Create a new Heroku project and connect it. Okay, let's go ahead and push this to GitHub. So I'll say git status. Make sure I'm pushing it to the right place. Make sure I'm not pushing up sensitive stuff. That all looks good. I'll say git add, git commit -m, finished. Let me put that back to 8080. Otherwise that'll mess me up later. Okay. I will say git add again. And git commit. Finished lesson5 class activity. And git push -u origin master. Okay. Let's check GitHub. Now I'll go ahead and refresh this. Beautiful. Okay, so there's our stuff. That's all working. Let's create a new Heroku project. So I think we're done with this page. So I'll just go to Heroku.com. Go ahead and sign in here. Oh, man. I'm going to delete this one. I can only have 5 with my free account, so let me just delete that real fast. Okay, we'll say new one, and we'll just say cse341 class 5. Hit create app. And again, this is the exact same thing that you're going to do with your project this week. I'm just going to hit connect to GitHub. I'll say class 5 and search for that. Okay, I thought it would do a more generous search. That's okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and hit connect. Beautiful. We'll enable automatic deploys. Settings, config vars. We're going to need these, right? Because our environment variable with our MongoDB URI, we did not push that. So we need this guy right here with the value that I have inside of my .env file. So I'm going to copy and paste that here, and I'll hit add, and then I'm going to hit hide config vars. All right, so I just did that. That's ready to go. I'm going to come back over here and just adjust my swagger.json file to work on Heroku. Okay, so I'm going to select there. I'll just set that to HTTPS. I'm going to hit open app and just set this to my localhost. Now notice localhost doesn't include any HTTP or anything, so I'm going to take this off. And it didn't include the trailing slash either, so I'm going to take that off as well. So I'm going to save that, and then if I look at my version control, you can see I changed my swagger.json file. I'll just say modifying swagger.json to work on Heroku, and hit sync changes. Okay, if we come back over here, not here, and if I just go to activity, We should see it building. Yep. So that looks good. I'll go ahead and click on this. Usually there are problems the first couple times that you build. If there are any problems tonight, we'll go ahead and work through those. While that's going, let's just make sure we did everything. We did that. We did that. We did that. Commit and push. Last one, you guys. Test on Heroku. Make sure it all looks good. Build succeeded. I've seen that so many times with broken apps that I never trusted anymore. Okay. Hey, that actually looked great. I mean, I know it says error, but this is our app, you guys. This is our sweet app. API docs. Nice. Try it out. I'm going to put Jennifer. Execute. Look at that. That's beautiful. Okay. So, you guys, we successfully got this thing working. If we wanted to, from here on out, one thing that we could do, if we didn't think our swagger.json file was going to change, then I could go to my git ignore file, and I could go ahead and just put that in here. And then in my swagger.json, I could just basically change these back to localhost. And then it would work locally, and I'm not going to push these changes up. And so that's one thing that we could do with that. So anyways, I hope that this video was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it.